What's up, you guys? Joe Dobby back at it again with another deck profile. It has been a while since I've actually made content for YouTube for Digimon, but I will try my best to keep making that solid content coming at you. But one of the things that I was really excited for and was encouraged actually by the community and Mario, because I played in his 37-player tournament and placed first, going undefeated 5-0 with Ophanimon Loop. So it was a lot of fun to play, and I played it at Carta's in-person regionals as well. And it turns out that unfortunately there I was like 3-2-2. I drew 2 games, lost 2 games due to some misplays, not gonna lie, and won 3 of my games. Now, that was like with only 1 week of practice and tweaking the deck. Now I have over 2 weeks of practice and tweaking the deck. Given my also busy schedule, out of the entire 2 weeks, I think I only managed to play 3 days of each week. So there wasn't a lot of practice going on, but we managed to take it here. Matchups will be displayed right there. And then, yeah, we'll just get started with the deck profile real quick. So diving into the eggs here, I actually opted for 5 eggs because games with Ophani Loop can actually drag out quite long. So I'm running 1 copy of Nyaromon. If you have a yellow Digimon out, you draw 1 trash one. And if you have pretty much most of your Digimon besides the rookies are gonna be yellow and purple to some capacity, which means you will be triggering Nyaro quite often. Demimeras are draw 1 trash one on deletion, quite the classic. The reason I have that is obviously because my rookies are more to control my opponent's plays while I try to set up, so they actually stay on the board. And if my opponent gets rid of them, I like the value of draw 1 trash one. Love the Gengar sleeves. Shout out to Eli for that. Very thankful that he actually managed to send some to me. These over sleeves are awesome. But before I actually forget, I wanted to shout out George of Team Royal Knights. TayFray and Mario, they're all from Royal Knights, for their deck profiles because it inspired me to play the deck and actually build it and tweak it to my liking. And yeah, there's very minor tweaks here, but I did enjoy the deck quite a bit, so I hope you guys do too. Next, we're running the 4 copies of Gazimon. Once again, my goal here is to just control my opponent's plays, slow them down whenever I can while I set up for that Ophanimon, which actually adds a lot of pressure in the form of security attacks and the recursion due to its on-deletion effect. So Gazi slows the tempo down for my opponents by preventing them from popping memory boosts, etc., making it a little bit difficult for them to make moves. Next, we've got Psychmon. Psychmon is great against Beelstar. I did not face any Beelstar, though I did face some decks that run or should be running Death X. So Psychmon was pivotal in that regard. I have my own Death X in the deck, and one of the things I enjoy is just swinging with Psychmon whenever I want to play my own Death X, and then hard dropping it from hand for X amount. And this played in quite clutch, as my deck does run a lot of Tamers as well and can get pretty wide with a board. So having that Psychmon does shut things down for them. Next, the star of the show, 4 copies of the starter deck, Garomon. Y'all know what this thing does. It's 1 cost for Archangel or Fallen Angel to Evo. Andromons and Andromon X's are both Archangel, so they can Evo over Garomon for 1, which is pretty legit. And it's on play as a search effect. You get to pick up 1 yellow and 1 purple Digimon. Yes, you can pick up Death X because it is purple, which is really, really good. You don't take advantage of its Jogress effect that much. You actually don't use it at all. But that's fine. You're really there for the value of the added the cheap Evos. Next, we're running 2 copies of the Rush Garomon. This is very important, actually. This has stolen quite a few games for me, that event. And yeah, it's just got Rush, right? So you drop it, it has Rush if you have the memory to do so and not pass turn. But it also protects your stack via retaliation. It allows your Ophanimon to crash into things via retaliation. Pretty good card overall. Next, for the level 5s here, we're doing 4 copies of Andromon. Now, I really like Andromon. On play, Sec -2 on one of your opponent's Digimon, and on your turn, while you have a purple Digimon in play, this whole stack will get security attack +1. So if you can turbo up in Ophani super early, you actually get that boost, allowing you to provide ample amounts of pressure, forcing your opponent to get rid or deal with the Ophani, and then you recur back into playing a level 4 like Gato, and then you do the whole search and go up very quickly once again. So I do love that a lot. It has been super fun. But what I really enjoyed and what I've been trying to make happen for me this whole set was how to run Anjomon X-Anti. Anjomon X-Antibody can Digivolve for 0 over Anjomon, which is insane considering the fact that Gato can Digivolve Anjomon for 1 cost. So you're technically going into an X-Antibody for 1 cost from a level 4. In addition to that, when Digivolving, Sec -1 on one of your opponent's Digimon, which is likely going to be D-Brigades, your Searcher rookies, these Digimon that like they just drop down for a certain amount of value and then they swing with because they don't use after that. This comes in super clutch because you're stopping that from happening, or adding any pressure, or potentially having that rookie remove like a Chaos Degrade, which is more important when you have a bigger stack coming up next turn. And when there's a Digimon that has Anjomon underneath as a source, or has X-Antibody like the actual option, you get to recover one if you have 5 or fewer security cards. Just make sure you're keeping track of that. During practice, I actually added like a 7th security card over my 6th one when I shouldn't have, but that did not happen at Mario's, luckily. I misplayed a lot in my last game though, which was quite embarrassing for me and my opponents, but we managed to take the win and that was all good. This is not organized, so I'll do that real quick. Next, we have the star of the show here, 4 copies of Ophanimon. So Ophanimon, as you know, if this Digimon when Digivolving has a purple source, it gets to delete a level 4 lower Digimon. If it has a yellow source when Digivolving, you can recover 1. So this is really what drives that loop, quote unquote, of Gatomon and being able to get constant value and have a level 6 very quickly over and over again. In addition to that, on deletion, you just play a level 4 purple or yellow Digimon from trash without paying its cost, which is really what you get that Gato for. So this can swing with retaliation or crash into things, big stacks, or if your opponent just leaves it there, they're in trouble because you're just gonna keep getting security checks on security checks, which is really nice. There we go. And you revealed the 2 techs, but we're gonna go into the Mastemon first. Mastemon's like super strong, right? Like when Digivolving, trash 1 card from the top of both players' security stacks, and then the Mastemon player can play a level 4 Digimon that's purple or yellow from trash without paying its memory cost. So this was really good for swinging for game, because you can bring out the Rush Gatomon from trash and it can just swing for game. And Mastemon, you can actually win from your opponent having 2 security checks. Because if Mastemon has Anjomon underneath, then it's swinging for 2 checks, and then it's also playing that Gatomon to swing for game, which is insane. You can actually win from two whole checks. Actually from 4 checks, or 3 checks, because you're trashing 1, swinging twice, swinging for game. So from 3 checks, you can actually win very, very handedly if you open up that Mastemon and have only like 3 pieces in trash. Like 1 Gato in trash, the Anjomon under Maste, and at 3 security, you pretty much got it, which is really good. So I love that card. It's given me a lot of wins at that event. Death X-Mon, de-Digivolve 1 on play or when Digivolve. Sometimes I have to Digivolve because my opponent drops that Psychmon, but most of the time they don't have that Psychmon, so I'm good. And end of my opponent's turn, their Digimon gets deleted, the Digimon with the lowest play cost. So I faced a Shine deck that just couldn't answer the Death X at all. I mean, it answered it, but it had to pay like 5 memory or something to run Sunrise Buster, and that was like putting me to 3. And then at 3, I just went into the Anjomon, Ophani, and did it all over again, and he just couldn't get through my stack, and I was able to just aggress and win. Avenge Kidmon came in super duper clutch. It's saved me from a deck out against, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Security Control, where I actually would Avenge Kidmon and take this guy back and then get 2 pieces that I need, maybe 2 rookies, to have 1 rookie in raising and 1 rookie out. And then if he doesn't deal with both of those, well, he can't deal with the raising one, but if he doesn't deal with the one on the board, I pretty much have 2 swings coming up, which is super invaluable for them as a SecCon player, because the removal, they want it on something that can actually, like, that I actually have of value. And if I'm just cycling my rookies to swing at their security, they're not getting anything out of it but being forced to recover, and then I can kind of take control of that. And Mastemon also came in clutch there. But yeah, Avenged Kidmon can pop 8k as well, so it was pretty good. 2 copies of Calling from Darkness. Oops, sorry for the glare. 2 copies of Calling from Darkness. Super strong card. I had 1 originally and I bumped it up to 2, and 2 is much better now. George told me to stay at 2, but I wanted to experiment. But yeah, 2 is much better because you need to see it. You can pop your own Ophanimon to get value, or after it swings. And you can also cycle this through Avenged Kid, so when things really get down to the wire and you're about to deck out, you're only really sending options to your deck. So Calling can actually get you some Digimon that you can use from your trash when you cycle it back into your deck, which is really good. 2 copies of Winrate. Winrate came really clutch, allowing me to trash like the Rush Gatomon. And then because it's both a purple or yellow, it's pretty much guaranteed that you can use its effect to Digivolve into either Mastemon or Ophanimon. Sometimes being able to this Gatomon for 2 memory is good, because if you're at 3, you can go straight into a level 4 with that 1 win rate, which is nice. But yeah, 2 win rates. Considering going down to 1, but I end up like trashing 1, so having that other one potentially is really good. 1 copy of Reinforced Memory Boost. This is such a mind game because I've Reinforced Memory Boosted into Chaos Degrade and like a Digimon, and then I put the Chaos Degrade on top, and then now my opponent has to play a little slower. They have to play around the Chaos Degrade, so they try to build a little bit wider on the field, and then keeping like a stack in raising or whatever. And by then I'm able to drop Death X, and if their stack can't deal with Death X, then it's likely that their stack's gonna get deleted at the end of their turn next turn, because of how wide they attempted to go. So Reinforced was kind of nice. It is expensive, so I might actually cut it for something else, but for now it's been really good. 4 copies of Flame Hellscythe. Flame Hellscythe, super cool card. It's really there for the Gatos, the Rush Gatos, or the Anjuamons. But it can also bring out Psychmon and Gazimon, and if you're big brain like that and you're anticipating a Death X coming up, because Death X can shut this deck down if you don't have Chaos Degrade in your hand. There's no way to deal with it. You can just whip out the Psychmon and your opponent's like, oh, okay. Same thing goes for Beelstar. You can kind of shut them down. So that's good. Next here, we're running 4 copies of the Chaos Degradation. Super good card because there's nothing that actually deals with it besides, things that nullify security option effects. However, if you're playing this from your hand, there's literally nothing that can deal with it right now. So it basically forces your opponent to send targets to their security stack. Well, you can send your opponent's Digimon to their security stack, top or bottom, and then they can trash it. And if you don't want to trash that card, for example, you're facing a mirror, and then Magna Anjumon is what you're sending Chaos Degrade off of from security, it just goes to the bottom, and then they never see it again, which is really great. Next, we're running 2 copies of Kari just for the memory tamers, but it's also really good because it allows me to gain a memory when I recover on my turn, allowing me to go potentially to 4 memory off the Anjuamon X-antibody. And when that happens, I can go into Ophani Fall Down and actually keep my turn, which is crucial because it's a free 2 checks. And then off those 2 checks, I can then use Calling and, get more value, or I can leave the Ophani there and play like a Gazi or a Psychmon. And I don't care if I put them to 3 because, putting them to 3 is totally fine if they have memory boosts out and I drop a Gazi, for example. So that's really good. Next, we got 2 copies of Mako. George likes 2 copies. I might actually make it 3 and then cut an Analog Youth. Reason being is Mako was actually so good one time when my opponent hit 2 insecurity. My opponent hit 2 Makos in security, like the first 2 checks or whatever. I did recover into one of them, I remember. And I got all my pieces by then. And I was just like slamming the Gato for like 3 memory. And I would put my opponent to 1. Or you can actually control it, right? So I can keep a Mako unsuspended in case like there's a health size insecurity. And then I can like just trigger 1 Mako to put my opponent to like 1 or as much memory as I desire. Because sometimes if they don't have a memory tamer, Gato for 4 or 3, if you put them to 1 memory is like really great. Like you don't have to keep turn if you're just shutting them down from being able to, you know, make any decent plays. Next, we got 3 copies of Analog Youth here. I might reverse it and do 3 Mako, 2 Analog. Just because every time I got into my Ophani, it was just way faster. Like I just got into Ophani way faster than I would even see Analog. And if I see Mako, at least I know that what I'm playing from Mastemon, I'm gaining memory from. What I'm playing from Ophanimon, I'm gaining memory from. And, you know, I don't know. Sometimes it's better than Analog. So I might just dip down to 2 Analog and make 3 Makos. But very good card because if your Ophani swings for 2 checks, dies on the 2nd check, which is ideal, suspend Analog Youth to hatch an egg and gain a memory. And then you can rebuild again in raising, which is really, really big. Or you have memory to run calling and get pieces again because of the Analog Youth, which is really good. But that's it for the deck profile, guys. Matchups will be in the bottom here. And once again, the matchups were really fun. Everyone was really stand up. I had fun, man. It was all good. So I hope you guys have a good night. And I hope you like the profile. Peace.